Welcome to Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Sean Walchef. This is a Cali BBQ Media production. Today we are on site at American Factory Wheel with the owner, founder, Josue Casillas, who is also a friend and somebody that I have nothing but respect for, someone that took an idea almost 20 years ago from a garage and built it into what he's built it into today, which is American Factory Wheel. We just did a behind the scenes episode, which is available on YouTube. We always do a behind the scenes episode with our podcast guest, but we got to learn more about your business, which we appreciate. And thank you for hosting us here at your new location in Santee. Welcome to Digital Hospitality.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely. I think one of the most important things, if this is the first time you're tuning into the show, digital hospitality it's a thesis. It's something that we're trying to find every single week. Businesses, leaders, brands, personalities, people that are approaching life and business in a way that's focused on the internet, that's focused on the phone, but that's focused on making an impact and changing not just their business, but their industry. And that's why I'm so excited to have a conversation with you today. You have not just moved your business, but you've transformed your business in what you do on Yelp, what you do on Instagram, what you do on Twitter, what you do on Facebook. And you're always trying to push the envelope. And more specifically, your website. I know that you've invested heavily on getting all of the inventory that you have as a shop, as a small business, online so that people can find it. Why was that so important?
Well, we need a presence, obviously. I mean, that's why you're here today. This is my first podcast, and kind of saw what you were doing with the Cali Comfort, and I was very impressed with the amount of followers you've gained over the last months, and just having a media presence is a big deal. So with that, the website is important. Switching our business into an e-commerce business, it's the future. So, obviously I couldn't agree with you more. It's something that, as a small business owner, we all know and we all see every single day. Our wives, the people in our lives, the people we love, our children, everyone's on their phone. Right.
And we know that no matter what business we're in, we need to be discoverable on the phone. And whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on Instagram, whether that's on Yelp, whether that's through Google search, whether that's through Alexa, no matter what it is, if we don't show up where people are, then it's going to be very difficult to do business in the next 5 years and the next 10 years.
Yeah, for sure. So again, having that media presence is huge, and something I'm very much committed to do. Starting now. So I'm excited, man. I'm so excited, pumped up just to be here with you and your team, and starting on this new journey of media marketing.
It's media marketing, and I think that's important too. It's crazy because we opened our business in 2008, our restaurant, and that was at a time where I thought Facebook was a joke. I always tell people I made fun of my business partner at the time, Corey Robinson, one of my best friends, is in my wedding, and I love him dearly. He has a real estate business, but I made fun of him for being on Facebook. Like he was
what do you mean made fun of him?
Like I would poke fun of him, like, oh, like you're just trying to pick up chicks.
Yeah.
Like, cause that's what I saw Facebook as.
For sure.
Like, I'm like, we're trying to run a restaurant. What are you doing screwing around on the internet on Facebook?
Yeah.
But then when we were struggling and trying to get people to come into our restaurant, and we opened in Spring Valley, which is a part of town that most people told us do not open up a business there. And I realized that marketing was something I had to do whatever was possible to get people to come into the restaurant. Whether that was showing NFL Sunday Ticket, whether that was showing Fight Night, whether that was showing MLB Package. No matter what happened, we had to get people to come in. How do I tell people that we have those things? I had to start learning about the internet in the ways that I didn't go to school for the internet. I didn't learn how to do any of that stuff. Facebook was one of the first platforms that I'm like, well, okay, you can create a business page. Maybe we should create a business page. Maybe I should post that we're hosting the fight on Facebook.
Right.
And to think for the last 11 years, we've created something where social media, all these different platforms, every day as business owners, we're hopefully posting content to those platforms.
Right.
But we don't own those platforms, right?
We don't.
So what can we do now in 2019 and moving forward to continue to obviously publish on those platforms, but also publish on our own website,
Right.
so that content, so that when people are coming, they're coming to find us and they're coming to buy directly from you.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I think that's something which I'm so impressed that you've taken the investment to build your website the way that you have, because it's mobile friendly.
Right.
You know, why was that important to you?
Again, I mean, just it's funny because what you said right now about the Facebook thing. I've always seen Facebook and Instagram, and you know, I see people like you. You know, they're constantly posting on there and stuff. And to be quite honest with you, it gets kind of annoying, right? You almost want to start deleting people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but then, you know, and then it just clicked at me not too long ago. I'm like, wait. This is what we need to be doing right now. And it's important for us to have this presence and be consistent with this presence on social media and, you know, with content, like you said. So the website is a big part of that. It's not completely done yet, but we're well on our way. And I definitely see the, you know, the big picture on what we need to do with media and, you know, e-commerce website and being on eBay and just trying to tap into everything you can possibly try to get into, every platform, everything. I mean, we need to get in everywhere. So yeah, it's important.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's one of those things when you start to realize, okay, well, I want to have a website where, just for us as a restaurant, I want to make sure that we have photos for every single menu item that we're offering.
Yeah.
You know, I can't tell you how many restaurant websites you go to and you go there and the menu's not updated.
Right.
You know, or the hours are incorrect,
Right.
or the content is,
Yeah.
you know, it's a broken link. That stuff is very frustrating as a customer. And I know for you, it becomes a daunting task when you have how many inventory items do you have that needed to get onto that website?
Well, you know, the thing is like, you know, wheels have been around, OEM wheels have been around since the early 1900s when the cars got invented pretty much.
So explain OEM,
So
wheels.
OEM is original equipment manufactured. It's what comes on your car when you buy it from the dealership. Now you have the option of going to tire shops and changing them out and get the spinners you were talking about. You know.
Apparently spinners aren't a thing.
But OEM is stock.
Just for rap videos.
Yeah, it's stock. It's just stock stuff. And trying to put as much inventory into the website, it's very challenging, and it's an everyday job. So it's been difficult. I mean, it's been 18 years in the makings. And so we're here. The website's up and running now.
How many website domains do you have?
I probably have 7 to 10 different domains.
And why do you have 7 to 10 different domains?
Because I was a confused son of a bitch. That's why.
I appreciate
That's
your
the
honesty.
honest to God truth. We have 2 parts to our business, and it's one of the things I struggle with is how do you market both of them when they're actually there's really 2 businesses. You know, how do you market that into one, where the repair business is more of a local thing, and then the distribution of wheels is more of a nationwide thing. It's a hard thing to do.
And what's the percentage between those two? Is it
The business
50-50?
is actually 50-50.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So again, the repairs we can only control the local scene, and so that's where it becomes challenging, trying to mix both businesses.
Sure.
And market it. So that's the hard part, marketing this business as one. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think, you know, that's something that's so important, and, you know, what I appreciate any small business owner is, like, when we understand that we don't have all the answers, you know, it's like I'm so lucky that I have people that recommend books to me, and, you know, Story Brand by Donald Miller, which we've talked about on this podcast, highly recommend the book.
Right.
But it's about clarifying your message.
Right.
You know, and even if you have 2 different businesses, how do you clarify your
So
message?
you're the 3rd person that's actually brought up the name of that book.
You have to.
And
like,
so
he
I
has
bought
a
it.
podcast as
You
well.
know, I just
You
haven't
have
read it, but I need to.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And, you know, back to Story Brand, it's about clarifying your message, especially online, because attention spans are short. You know,
Yep.
we all have short attention spans. But back to, you know, what you were saying is, it is easy to fall into the trap where you see people that are posting a lot, and you go exactly that. You're like, why? Like, that's annoying. Why are you posting so
Right.
much? But once you realize that when you're top of mind to a customer, you don't know where a potential customer might come from.
No, for sure, yeah.
You know, and I think that's the real shift in dynamics of what's happening with small businesses. We don't know if somebody's going to find us at the local hockey game.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know if someone's going to find us because
Yep.
somebody had us for
Yep.
to cater their,
Yep.
you know, their holiday party. We have to always be figuring out ways to produce content for the internet,
Right.
but do it in a way that is true to who we are.
Right.
You know, if somebody chooses not to follow us, that's totally up
Yeah.
to them. But if we're not where people want to be, then that becomes our problem, right?
Right, yeah.
And I think that's something that, you know, for you, you're in a business that's typically seen as a business to business,
Right.
Where you're typically making relationships with auto repair shops. So you
Yeah.
have relationships,
That's the
which is
bones
how
of our
you
business,
built
yeah.
your business, which
Yeah.
was relationships,
Yeah.
so that they referred you.
Yep.
So somebody would get into an accident, they go to their insurance sends them to a specific auto body
Yeah.
shop. That auto body shop says, "Hey, I need this wheel.
Right.
Let's call American Factory Wheel."
Yep, that's exactly how it is, yep.
When did you find out that you also had, instead of just a business to business, you had a business to consumer?
Because of Yelp, I mean, honestly, we've always been set up to be a wholesale business, you know, like you said, relationships and with, you know, the retailers. But because of Yelp, I guess it's just something that just kind of fell in my lap and really forced me to consider that stream of revenue more. And
I mean, you
so,
almost
yeah.
have 400 reviews that are 5-star reviews,
Right, yeah.
which means that you took that platform seriously.
Yeah,
You know,
I have.
and Yelp is something that typically as business owners you go, oh, well, I mean, I know there's a significant amount of restaurant owners that ignore Yelp because
Right.
they don't like what's being written about their restaurant.
That's so crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Because it's a platform for people that are looking for food.
Yeah.
But not only looking for food, now Yelp has expanded to all different types of businesses.
Right, so-
if you own a gardening business,
Yeah.
you can request a quote. If you own a
If
plumbing
you're in
shop.
any type of business and you don't have Yelp, there's a problem.
Correct.
You know, you're kind of you're taking yourself out the picture here. I mean, it's just ridiculous when you don't have some type of social media or you know, presence, you know, in general.
Well, and you can do it for free. You can claim your business
Yeah,
listing
exactly.
for free and
Doesn't
update
cost
that
you
information.
Takes
that
you a
it's-
few minutes to set
correct.
up.
It takes you, and that's the crazy thing is, not only does it take you a few minutes to set up, but once you set that up, you realize, oh, I already have the information that I need to set up my Google business page.
Right.
So now I can go and transfer that information. So all these different platforms.
Yeah, so once you
have
do
to be
one
set up.
thing,
correct.
you know, it kind of leads you to do others like
Yes.
Google and social media, and it's just an ongoing thing. But you know,
And I think, you know, for me, watching people own their business on Yelp, it's such an empowering thing because
Right.
it's one platform, but it's like you said, it triggers you to know, hey, I need to update this. Like,
Right.
hey, maybe I should update my Instagram account.
Right.
And like you started posting more on Instagram and now you're A/B testing
Yep.
ads,
Yep.
targeted ads.
Yep.
Why is that important?
Another thing you get from those Yelp is the reviews. A bad review can actually be a good review.
Yes.
I mean, because it's constructive criticism, right? So you grab that and you know you fix what needs to be fixed at your business, and so yeah, it's important to Chewy.
I love that. You have dog
Hey, buddy.
dog friendly business. We're always down with dog friendly businesses. What's up, Chewy? I saw that Chewy doesn't like the mail.
He hates the
He
mailman.
hates the mailman or the mail lady.
Yeah.
So I've had George Recoy from Recoy Creative. He was on Behind the Smoke back in the day, and something we always talk about
That's
on the podcast.
my boy right there, George.
is all ABB, always be branding. I know that you use George for graphic design.
Yeah,
why,
George
why do
has
you make
taught
that?
me so much.
Why do you make that decision?
Well, I mean, George, just knowing him on a personal level, but also he's got mad skills. What he's been able to do with San Diego Bull Complex, out of his garage, really, in his back of his car and
we
stuff.
like garage businesses.
Yeah, I love it.
Bootstraps.
Yeah, it's a great story, and George is going to do well if he keeps doing what he's doing. But I've learned so much from George on branding, right? So he's the one that has done everything for us, really, our graphic designs and flyers, postcards, the smallest things to even doing like envelopes and postcards and social media. Now he's doing our social media ads and stuff. And so yeah, I love George. He's great.
I think it's important, for business owners to know if you don't care about the brand and you don't care about the logo, how can you expect your employees to buy into it?
Right. Yeah.
Like, how can you expect the culture to be proud of where you work? One of the things when Corey and I started Cali Comfort was like we cared so much about taking the time for the name of the business, but also the logo behind it, because that was going to be in our gear. That's what we're going to wear. That's what we're going to represent. Because, and when someone is out, we have a server that goes out to Costco on the other side of the county, and they see somebody else wearing a Cali Comfort shirt, like they automatically have a connection.
Yeah, that's free marketing.
It's free marketing. It's a connection, and then they're part of the story.
Yep.
And I think that's something that, George has done an incredible job, not just helping us, because he's done multiple projects, helping us with Behind the Smoke logo, but also Cali BBQ Media.
Right.
And obviously what he's done with American Factory Wheel. I mean, when I came up, today's the first day I've been to your new location, and literally you have signs everywhere. You have, you have almost a marquee out in the front.
Yep.
But that gives you that sense of pride. Then you know that this business takes their brand seriously.
Right.
Because brand is the only thing
that
is going to separate you from somebody else.
Yeah, it's all about branding, man.
It's about branding, but it's also about you.
Right.
Because you as the business owner are the man behind the man.
Right.
And you started this in your garage.
I did.
Why? How?
So we're going into that story?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I want it.
So
people need to know that, like, whatever their dreams are and their hopes are, that entrepreneurs, every single day is a struggle, but it started somewhere, right?
It did. So AFW started in 2001, and it was just, I was struggling. I had just left a job, and then went to another job, and then another job, and kind of was just bouncing around. And my friend Scott, who worked for one of the big tire shops here in San Diego, and he's a real good friend of mine. He called me one day and said, "Come over to the house. I want out of this tire company. I have a plan for us." I wasn't working at the time. I had just moved out of my parents' house at 28 years old.
28.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was at home helping out the family. Really.
You stepped up.
I stepped up.
As a son.
And so now I'm unemployed and living in this house with 4 other roommates and stuff. And so I go over to Scott's house, and he comes up with the idea of buying used rims. And he asked me that day, he said, "Hey, how much money do you have?" Right? And so I said, "I don't have any money." And so he said he was going to pull some of his 401k out, and if I can just kind of grab some money, whatever I can get. And I told him, I think I can get about $5,000. I'll have to ask my mom, right? So that's kind of how it started. And so from there, I went out and started buying used rims and stuff, and had them in my garage.
Where were you buying them from?
Just tire shops, just because I was in the tire industry, so I knew people in the game and stuff. And so just going to these tire shops and saying, "Hey, I'm gonna, I need to buy your used rims," and so they would sell them to me. Yep.
And you knew there was a market for it, or were you doing it in hopes that there was a market for it?
Well, there was another guy that was doing it, and he was doing really well with it. I just kind of felt that we can tap into that market since there was nobody else doing it. One guy was doing it locally. Mm-hmm. So what happened is, next thing you know, I have 100 rims in my garage. My roommates are all pissed off and stuff because,
they can't park their
to them
car.
it's junk. Basically it is. You got all these.
It's my goal. It's my business.
And Scott never went through. He never left the tire company he was working with, and I kind of just kept going with it. And so next thing you know, I had 200, then 1,000 rims inside of a house, and now they're making their way out to the backyard and the side of the house and the living room. And by that time, my roommates want out of the house, right? They don't want to be part of this. They can't bring girls over anymore. It's just a mess.
It's not cool anymore.
It's not cool anymore. So that's kind of where it started. Yeah.
When does it go from a home business to actual getting a lease?
So during that
incorporating
time,
all the fun, all the nitty gritty fun stuff.
Right. So during that time, I was going through some personal stuff at home and stuff, and I told you this story. I shared it with you before. My dad had just checked himself into a rehab home. He was struggling with drug addictions and stuff, and so it was a tough time for us, and the business I had just started and stuff, and so during that same time, my sister had an aneurysm, so we were going through some serious life things, right?
Your older sister?
My older sister, or my younger sister.
Younger sister.
I only have one sister,
Yeah.
but yeah, Salome, and she almost lost her life from it, and so the business was just something I needed to do for the family, for the family. It's just something I had to make work, and I had no doubt that that something was going to come of it. I just didn't realize to what extent, Yeah.
And when your sister had that tough experience, how were you there to help her?
Well, I mean, how was I there? Just being there for her at the hospital, and just helping her go through the whole recovery process, and her having to learn how to walk again, how to talk again, how to write again, and all these basic life things that that we take for granted every day. And she had to learn all that stuff, and so it was tough. But at the same time, while I had my dad in rehab, I had my sister going through this, I was growing a business out of the house. My roommates bounced out on me, right? Mm-hmm. So they took off literally like overnight, and so I'm stuck at home with a bunch of rims, and I couldn't just get up and leave like they did. So what I did is I asked my mom if I can bring the rims over to the house, right? Mm-hmm. And she said, absolutely not. She said, you can't have that stuff over here. So then I started driving around, Mission Valley and whatnot, and came across our first warehouse, which was 800 square feet. Mm-hmm. And I remember signing the lease for that thing. I just counting how many rims I had to sell to make that payment mm-hmm. For the warehouse and stuff. And so that's how we ended up in Mission Valley.
And it was just you?
It was just me at the time.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was just out of high school, so then he came. I asked him to help me out a little bit, but he ended up, and now he's been here for close to 19 years.
Mm-hmm. So yeah. Just help me out for a couple.
Help me out for a couple days. Yeah. So it's 19 years later.
19
he's here.
Years.
Yep. So that's kind of how it happened.
It's incredible. And then, I mean, that's part of the thing that I've always loved about doing the podcast, is that people get to understand that no matter what they're doing, the path is never an easy path.
No.
And there's so many different things that happen, not just in the business, but outside of the business. You had family, you had your father, you had your sister, you had all this, the weight of the world on your shoulders.
Right. Yep.
But you knew in your heart that you had to keep pushing through.
I did.
And keep pushing through. I mean, how many different times did you feel like maybe I should just close the doors?
Never.
Correct.
Never.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Never.
You wouldn't have been open.
I think about it now, only because I'm older. I'm older and have all this weight on my shoulders, and just kind of feeling like, hey, sometimes maybe it's time for me to walk away. But then I have my family. I mean, I still take care of my mom. I still take care of my dad. I have all my employees that have families, and it's hard to walk away from it.
Well, it's hard to walk away, but it's also, I think one of the most exciting parts too is what you and I have kind of discussed, and that's there's never been a time ever in history where a small business owner can have as much impact as we can have right now,
right?
Because of digital, because of the phone, because of the things that we can do, not just for our business but for our industry, in ways that have never been done before. Literally, people, no matter what industry or what business you're in, you have an opportunity to share things and give information and tips and secrets away that before you'd have to go to school to do, or you'd have to have a mentor to do. But now you can do it in a podcast. You can do it over YouTube. You can do it in so many different ways, but you can do it in ways that a rising tide lifts all ships.
Right.
So it's not just, oh, you competing against another
Right.
business that does the same business that you do. It's how do we all as business owners do something different,
Yep.
and make an impact.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you talked about industry events, right?
Right.
Things that happen in your industry where, I mean, on Behind the Smoke, we talked about when we go to Podcast Movement or National Barbecue Association, the things that compel us, the things that make us want to improve our business are always people that are pushing the envelope and people that are doing things differently,
Yep.
right? I
Yep.
mean, Steve Jobs think differently.
Right.
Apple.
Yeah.
What kind of things do you want to do differently for your business and your industry?
It's such a competitive market. The automotive industry is so competitive. And I was telling you not too long ago, I was like, one of the things that I'm so impressed with Cali Comfort is the way you've been able to embrace other barbecue businesses and share their stories or share their businesses or refer their business even to others, right? And so I think that's something that I really love on how you did that with your business, and it's something definitely that I'm about as well. So kind of sharing and referring, and I mean, there's enough money out there for everyone. So yeah, just embracing competition, embracing our competitors, and just being part of the industry as one.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, that's a great discussion point, is that you are a member of Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association.
Yep.
And I think that's something that their ideals, which are fellowship, sportsmanship, and charity,
Yep.
are things that I've always admired about you, and which is why I'm so privileged that I was nominated by you and Alvarez and Johnny Bolt Pride and
Right.
Swoop and D to become a part of that organization. But it's 32 NFL fan bases that are all
Yep.
supporting each other in the thing that we love.
Yeah, and we
which
can
is
apply that to
fellowship,
business.
sportsmanship, and charity.
Yep.
And that's giving back. And, you never meet people like the leaders in that organization that care as much as they do about their community
Yep.
in ways that it's for the owner, Steve Tate from
Yep.
the Packers. It's not about the Packers being the best. He cares about every single
Yeah, for
fan
sure.
base.
Yep.
And until you go to Green Bay and Lambeau Field and you feel the love that every single one of those fans has for the visiting team. I mean, I remember going there with Scott, my cousin. We went, I think it was Favre's last year, and I had never been more impressed with a fan base of people that just wanted to talk about football.
Right.
It wasn't about talking about how bad the Chargers were or how they were going to kick our ass. It was about talking about, let's talk about fellowship, and why don't you come here and have a bratwurst?
Yep.
And why don't you come here and, just enjoy camaraderie, enjoy
Yeah, for sure.
sportsmanship.
For sure. So the whole, like you said, just being around all those people and the PFUFA has really taught me a lot of things as well, and how to the fellowship that goes on in these meetups and gatherings and stuff, and through social media, just seeing other fans from other teams and what they do with their communities, and how they embrace the team that's coming in, their fans and everything else, and you grab that and just apply it to your business. I mean, it's pretty awesome. So I'm very thankful for PFUFA for sure on teaching me a few things without them even knowing about my business, on how I should maybe apply some of those things to AFW.
And you got elected to Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association, but then you became the NFL Road Warrior.
Right.
How? Tell me about Alvarez, because Alvarez is somebody that holds a special place in both of our hearts, kind of as the leader and godfather of Bolt Pride, but kind of the reason that he's one of the reasons why you and I have become such close friends.
Yeah. So Alvarez is the glue to all of us. I mean, he's the reason why, why we all met in the first place. And so Alvarez has, he's just a great, you know him, Sean. He's a great dude, man. He's, the way he brings everyone together as one. It's pretty amazing on how consistent he is with that too.
Sure.
You know, just phone calls after phone calls. You know, it's just like, oh, it's Alvarez again. You know, it's 2:00, and but yeah.
I mean,
Alvarez
I think one of the most important things about PFUFA, but also just about people that tailgate, and we had talked about this before the podcast started recording, is that like when you have tailgating in your blood, you know that person, no matter what, will be there.
Yeah.
And if you say 5 a.m., that person will be there at 4:45.
Yep, that's Alvarez.
And those are the people that, no matter what, you know, we talked about Scott Kaplan, who we've had on the podcast, and back when the Chargers were here, and when, you know, Mighty 1090 would do a remote location, you know, during the playoff runs, and Scott would ask, who would he call? He would call Alvarez.
Alvarez full pride.
He would call Alvarez.
I need some people over here.
He says, I need some people over here. It's 5 a.m.
Yep.
And sure enough, Alvarez would call you and would call Johnny Bolt Pride. But those are the types of call to action, no matter what, being there and being on time and being part of that fellowship and being part of that camaraderie, that is so important. And I found that, you know, the more that I've incorporated that into our business and what I've seen you do as well, is that it's not, oh, this is my personal life and this is my business life.
Right.
Like, this is my life, and this is who I am, this is who Cali is.
Yep.
And I'm fortunate that my wife and my son and my daughter, they're going to be a part of it as well.
Right.
You know, they are a part of it. They let me do the crazy shit that I do.
Yep.
Go off to festivals and
you
go
and
off
I
to
both
tailgates.
got lucky on that end.
We got very lucky. Your wife is amazing as well. That, you know, she supports your dreams and your passions. And what do you see for the next stage for American Factory Wheels? What do you want to accomplish in 2020?
So our next step is, again, just going back to the website, is being able to actually turn the website into sales. You know, and moving the whole business over, well, you know, a percentage of the business over to an e-commerce. Yeah. And so that's kind of like my focus right now, is just getting that website to actually work.
Sure.
Yeah.
To generate the sales that you want it to
generate.
Generate.
Yep.
That's great. And I think, you know, one of the things that we're so excited to see is just when somebody like yourself, a business owner, a business leader, makes a commitment to create content.
Right.
The possibilities are endless.
Right.
Because storytelling and sharing what you do, how you do it. I mean, the fact that, you know, you let our team, Blue Vision, in behind the scenes. Stover, who's up in Portland, is going to be able to, you know, write a blog post about your guys' business and how you're making an impact. The possibilities are endless.
I just want to be part of what you're doing. You know,
you
because
are
I
a part of
respect
it.
you, my brother.
You are a part of it. And, you know, I respect, for anyone that starts a business in their garage that lives the story, and I mean, what you've done for your family, you know, which we didn't get into, but you've shared with me personally, you know, I have so much respect for you as a man.
Yeah, thank you.
And I know, as somebody that's also sober, I've been sober for 7 years, and I congratulate you on your 1 year sobriety.
1 year, yep.
You've done a much better job in sharing that on Facebook and Instagram better than I have.
Yep.
I've shared it on this podcast, obviously, as a alcoholic sports bar owner that's in recovery.
Yeah.
That also goes to meetings in my bar. I've got 2 meetings a week in my bar. But why has sobriety been important for you?
Just clarity. You know, just
clear eyes, full hearts.
Yeah,
can't
everything.
lose.
I mean, just sobriety has really changed my life. It's crazy to say, but it really has. You know, having a clear vision of what I want to do with the shop, in my life, in my marriage, with my family, and all my relationships. You know, it just gave me that. It cleared everything up.
Yeah. Well, Josh, I can't thank you enough, brother. It's been so awesome just watching from afar, but now, you know, letting us in and sharing your story, and I'm so excited to watch you change your industry.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I mean, so many
Appreciate
people are going to be reaching out to you.
This is the beginning.
This is just the beginning.
Just the beginning.
I know we haven't even gotten started yet, which is the most exciting part. Where can people find you?
They can find us at 8745 North Magnolia in the city of Santee, California, or on alluserims.com.
And then Instagram?
Instagram, our handle is AFW_OEM Wheels. And on Twitter, same handle is AFW_AF Wheels.
That's perfect. And
or on Facebook as well.
Facebook as
American
well.
Factory Wheel.
We're going to put all those links in the show notes. Stover does an incredible job. Make sure to check out the show notes, but also subscribe. Tell your friends about the podcast, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Can't wait. 2020. Let's do it.
My man.
Boom.